It is my honor to welcome you all to this, the 133rd annual meeting of the trustees. I welcome all of you, members of governance, close friends, and supporters. This amazing tradition has continued without interruption since our founding in Boston in 1891 by Charles Eliot. This annual assembly of our governance group is a night when we can reflect on the many milestones that have been achieved in the last year and recognize some exceptional individuals for their important work. Before I begin the meeting, I would like to take a moment of silence to honor these great friends of the trustees who are no longer with us. Thank you. Now, to begin the meeting, I'd like to welcome to the stage David Kroll, Secretary of the Board of Directors, who will officially call the meeting to order.
Thank you, Peter, and good evening, everyone. I feel especially good tonight. We have some amazing things happening at the trustees, and I'm not going to steal thunder of what lies ahead, but I'm just delighted at this point in our history, our long history, as Peter pointed out, that we have extremely capable leadership. We have been in a little bit of flux as an organization for a while, but I think we've landed. We'll hear from Katie after her first full year at the helm, and it's already clear that being Governor Baker's Secretary of Energy and the Environment has given her a huge head start in leading the trustees. We also have an incredibly capable incoming board leadership in Tom French, Cyrus Taraporavella, and Phyllis Yale. As you will hear, we've decided to move to a chair and two vice chairs, a team of three, who will share the increasing duties of board leadership at the trustees. As the two prior chairs, Peter and I can tell you that we feel this will work extremely well and will probably be a better model for our growing and complicated organization, so we're trying it. And with these encouraging observations, I am pleased to declare that we have a quorum present for the 133rd annual meeting of the Trustees of Reservations and can begin the meeting. I'd like to request a motion to waive the reading of the minutes held on November 2nd, 2023, and approve them as distributed. May I have a second? Thank you all. Any further discussion? Good. Any opposed? Okay. Hearing none, the motion passes, and we can officially begin the meeting. Moving right into the business of the night, I'd like to welcome Andy Beauregard to the stage. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Andy Beauregard, and as chair of the Finance and Audit Committee, I'm honored to present the financial state of the trustees. Before I begin, I think it's important that we pay homage to Charles Eliot and his deft architecture of the agenda of this meeting by placing the finance report so close to the cocktail reception and so far in advance of when post-meal drowsiness kicks in. So tonight I'll cover our historical and forecasted income statement performance, the state of our strong balance sheet, and key indicators of ongoing operational success. Before diving deeper, a few clarifications on what you'll see and what you'll hear. You will see on a few of our slides historical numbers back to 2020. What you'll hear are references to primarily fiscal 2024, which is the year ended this past March 31st, and forecasts for fiscal 25, which is our current year, now 7 months in. I stand in front of you with very good news on the finance front. Last year at this time, we were reporting on a multi-million-dollar operating deficit for fiscal 23 and forecasting another large deficit for fiscal 24, and predicting that we would need a multi-year effort to course correct back to break even. Plain and simple, our expense base was growing at a steeper trajectory than our revenue. While fiscal 24 did finish in a deficit, that deficit was much smaller than expected at this time last year. More on that as we turn slides. There are three main takeaways for you regarding our revenue. First, fiscal 24 saw overall growth driven by the steadfast generosity of our donors. Many of you are here with us tonight. We also received an extraordinary one-time gift that funded a much-needed restructuring effort and helped close our operating deficit. Second, our revenue mix remains strong, stable, and diverse across all of our four major categories. Other than contributions, our major revenue streams remained in line with prior years. As you can see, property and programming and membership combined for slightly more than half our revenue, while contributions and support from our endowment make up the remainder. Your third major takeaway is that while we expect to see a year-over-year contraction in total fiscal 25 revenue by approximately $3 million, we can still view this as good news. The expected year-over-year decrease can be attributed to contributed support returning to normalized levels, as well as a reduction in property and program revenue as Katie and her team seek to reduce or eliminate revenue streams that both carry low margin and are at best adjacent to our mission. An example is the closing of low-performing retail locations and discontinuing engagement programs with smaller audiences and impact. In a foreshadowing of subsequent slides, it is critical to note that we expect forecasted fiscal 25 revenue to be in line with fiscal 25 expenses, thereby bringing our income statement back to break even. This expense slide, more than any other, conveys the intentional but challenging work that Katie and her management team has done since we last convened. In recent years, our operations were expanding at a rate that was generating expenses, frankly, out of whack with associated revenue, leading to several years of significant operating deficits. Careful evaluation of all our programming and the aforementioned significant restructuring will certainly reduce operating deficits, hopefully eliminate them. Looking at fiscal 24 results and the fiscal 25 forecast, you can see two important trends. First, a reduction in our largest expense, compensation, by more than $2 million year over year, stemming from our February 2024 reduction in force and subsequent restructuring. Critically, we did this restructuring while creating a regional reporting structure that can more efficiently respond to the needs of our properties and members, keeping salaries and wages competitive for our remaining workforce, and making a significant investment in our new people and culture function. The second trend is a reduction in property and program expenses that represents careful streamlining of our program offerings and events and a redoubling of our commitment to property stewardship. To illustrate, we have consolidated production livestock operations, closed a lower performing CSA, and began shifting from direct farming on some properties to leasing with local farmers. Turning to our operating results, we began to right our financial ship in fiscal '24 with our restructuring that left us with both more sustainable compensation expense and more appropriate margins for programming activities. As a result, we materially reduced our operating deficit compared to fiscal '23. This work has continued into fiscal '25, which we anticipate will deliver us back to break-even results. When we hired Katie, the Finance Committee and the board expected a return to break-even would require at least 2 to 3 years. Instead, Katie and her management team took the difficult but courageous steps to course correct in less than half that time. As to our balance sheet, our message remains both very positive and very straightforward, accompanied by an important caveat. Quite simply, our balance sheet is strong. Our endowment continues to grow due to both strong investment results and the generosity of you, our donors. Our portfolio of iconic properties also grows with our 2024 acquisitions of Millbourne Farm and 75 acres adjacent to Bartholomew's Cobble out west. Meanwhile, we maintain access to ample cash and readily liquid assets in the event of an urgent opportunity or need. And we carry a de minimis amount of debt. But I offer a cautionary note about an off-balance sheet liability in the form of deferred maintenance. The trustees, like every property-heavy organization, faces substantial deferred maintenance. Thankfully, we'll hear more this evening about how our next strategic plan will provide ample long-term support for the team to manage this exposure to an appropriate level. Stepping away from financial results, even while the trustees has worked to course correct away from our recent operating deficits, we continue to deliver on our mission of caring for special places forever for everyone. You know the order. For special places, we continue to protect more than 47,000 acres across the Commonwealth. In 2024, we made several critical property acquisitions, including 200-acre Millbourne Farm in Metro West, and the first part of our 160-acre acquisition as part of the Cooper Hill project, which will expand our acreage around Bartholomew's Cobble in the west. For everyone, we welcome nearly 2 million visitors a year. We supervise, teach, and enrich more than 3,000 campers each summer. And we garner the support of nearly 1,000 volunteers who contribute nearly 78,000 volunteer hours annually. Forever, we have invested more than $7 million in capital and maintenance expenditures for our properties, and that resulted in, among other things, additional restoration at Crane Estates, landscape improvements at Armstrong Kelly Park, and further investment in our Boston community gardens. As we look ahead, you will hear later this evening about our next strategic plan. With that will come both great energy and optimism. Importantly, Katie and her team have put the finances of the trustees back on track before we officially embark on that adventure. For that, I strongly encourage you, all of you, to express both your admiration and gratitude. Mr. Chairman, I humbly submit this annual finance report for the record and respectfully ask for a motion to accept this report. May I have a motion? May I have a second? Second. Thank you. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. I'll now turn the podium back to Peter Coffin.
Thank you, Andy, for an excellent report. As our next order of business, I'd like to submit the updated bylaws for your approval. These bylaws were reviewed by the Governance Committee which recommends edits that went before the board recently. The updated document was shared via email in the proxy packets and is available on the webpage linked to your program and menu card tonight. Most notably, the changes allow us to appoint co-vice chairs to serve on the board. They also give the board of directors the flexibility to appoint new directors on an interim basis until the annual meeting. So, may I have a motion to accept the bylaws? Second? Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you very much. Good. Okay, now I invite Uzo Erlichson, the co-chair of the nominating committee, to the stage for our next order of business. Thank you, Uzo.
Thank you, Peter. I just want to say thank you to Peter. Thank you for all you've done for the trustees this past few years. On behalf of the governance and nominating committees, I am pleased to present the slate for approval by our voting members. Each year, members of the governing and nominating committees devote hours to identifying and recruiting the very best new people to join the trustees' volunteer leadership ranks and to review the current governance members who are up for renomination. We're very proud of the slate that we'll be presenting to you tonight. New officers provisionally approved by the Board of Directors in September, each serving a 3-year term, include Tom French as chair, Cyrus Taraporevala and Phyllis Yale as co-vice chairs. For the Board of Directors, we have 2 nominations, each serving 1 3-year term. Tim Healy of Concord, Brad Irwin of Naples, Florida. For life trustees, we have 3 nominations. Amy Auerbach of Wellesley, Edward Ladd of Dover, Eunice Panetta of Manchester. Thank you for staying with us, Eunice. For the advisory board, we have 15 nominations, each serving 1 3-year term. Oliver Aries of Arlington, David Beckhofer of Brookline, Stephanie Dankal of Dover, Kathy Fallon of Heartland, Vermont, Chris Gulgasian of Lincoln, Rhode Island, Jim Kane of Shrewsbury, Alex Leventhal of Boston, Peter Lawrence of Wareham, Ginger Marcotte of Hingham, Andrea Miano of Washington, D.C., Nisi Panetta of Manchester, Brad Paul of Ardmore, Pennsylvania, Kearney Shanahan of Wellesley, Janie Wilson of Wellesley, and Lily Zarella of Boston. For Trustees Council, we have 7 nominations to serve 1 3-year term. Laura Debony of Washington, D.C., Alex Leftman of Newton, Pauline Metcalf of New York, Chris Shepard of Hamilton, Jonathan Staroff of Newton, Arthur Steinert of Manchester, Hope Sutton of Wyban. For corporate trustees, we have 24 nominations, each serving 1 3-year term. I won't read all the names, but please refer to your digital program for a complete list of these nominees. You will also find a listing of the governance re-nominations for the various groups in the slate available online. Are there any other nominations on the floor? Any friends you want to introduce to us? You can reach out later to. Can I have a motion to instruct the secretary to accept the slate as a single vote for approval? May I have a second? All in favor? Let's have a round of applause and congratulations for everybody.
Thank you very much, Uzo. And may I add my appreciation to the members of our nominating and governance committees for their work in this process. To all our new and returning members, your support is important to the success and longevity of this organization. that we continue to attract such exceptional and passionate people to the ranks of the trustees' governance is heartening. Thank you all for all you do for the mission. With that, we are going to take a quick break before we start the next part of our agenda. Thanks. Once again, I am pleased to welcome you all to this 133rd annual meeting of the trustees. I have had the pleasure of addressing you 6 times before at this gathering. 2 of them were virtual, and I'm honored to have one more chance to share a few words. What I want to say most of all and most sincerely is thank you. Serving as chair of the trustees has been one of the great honors of my life, and I'm deeply grateful for the privilege and for your trust in me. I have especially enjoyed my time working with the staff. In countless meetings, events, property visits, I have seen firsthand the passion, the knowledge, and the commitment trustees, employees bring to their jobs every day. And I see their pride in being part of this organization, a pride that I truly share. I have also greatly appreciated working with our wonderful volunteers and members of governance, many of whom are here tonight. You are the heart and soul of this organization. At the time of our founding, Charles Eliot predicted that the trustees of reservations could, I quote, count on the munificence of public-spirited men and women who would rally to endow the trustees with their care. And so here you are, our munificent, public-spirited men and women. He would be very pleased. Finally, I want to express my deep gratitude to the board of directors whose immense talents, sound judgment, and commitment to our mission have been invaluable to me and to the trustees. Thank you for your leadership. I want to share my heartfelt thanks to Laura DeBonis, who is stepping off the board after 6 years of service. We greatly appreciated her steadfast support and guidance. Tonight, we give special honor to 2 retiring board members, Nisi Panetta and Ted Ladd, whose service to the trustees has truly been exemplary. Ted has been a mentor for me and many others, and actually was the one who, together with Hooker Talcott, first roped me into this organization, encouraging me to join. And I've always been very grateful for that. I am eternally grateful to Nisi Panetta, who served alongside me as vice chair and then as interim CEO. She was a partner and somebody whose wise counsel I relied on constantly. Thank you both, Ted and Nisi. Looking back, it's been a busy 7 years with 7 new reservations, 3 more than our original goal under the strategic plan Momentum. From Gary Island in the east to Beckett Quarry in the Berkshires, these new properties had added coastlands, gardens, farms, woodlands, and with De Cordova, an important new sculpture park and museum. We have also been busy stewarding our existing properties, well surpassing our goal of achieving a baseline standard of care for at least 70% of them. We made transformative investments at Long Hill and Stevens Coolidge, led pioneering work restoring the Great Marsh, and hosted engaging new art exhibitions at De Cordova, Fruitlands, and other trustees' properties, plus much, much more. Through these and other investments, visitation, membership, and program participation have grown steadily, mostly exceeding the goals of the Momentum campaign, though we, like many peer organizations, our numbers have dipped since their peak in COVID. One of our most heartening achievements has been the growth in our Founders Circle membership and the steady rise in our annual fund, further evidence of the munificence of our public-spirited people. I actually think that there's probably no better barometer of the health of an organization than its annual fund. So it's really quite an accomplishment and something I deeply appreciate all of your support in achieving. Of course, there were disappointments. We had hoped to build a waterfront park, but as costs rose and the potential resiliency benefits diminished, we made the difficult decision to step away from the Pierce Park 3 project. Still, our efforts in the city of Boston and the East Boston community have given us a greater appreciation for the importance of our work in urban areas. Through community gardens, mobile markets, mobile adventures, and our ambassadors' youth programs, we are committed to improving access to nature and the outdoors in neighborhoods where it is most needed. Connecting with nature is essential for our health and the well-being of our communities. It is also important for the sustainability of our planet. Climate change and biodiversity loss are existential threats that demand collective action, making our work more critical than ever. We must engage more people, foster their appreciation for nature, and inspire them to help us mitigate and adapt to these challenges. On the Trustees' Centennial in 1991, Queen Elizabeth sent a congratulatory note speaking about the prestige and high reputation of the trustees, which soon became known across the Atlantic, and the National Trust of England was then formed, and countless other organizations have since followed. Clearly, the trustees has a very proud legacy of leading by example and having an impact far beyond the borders of our Commonwealth. We now have a new strategic plan that builds on that legacy, leveraging our beautiful properties and incredible staff to model nature-based solutions addressing climate change and habitat loss. We can be a leader with these initiatives, and we can partner with our peers. Nature needs us now more than ever. For its sake and the sake of future generations, we must never be discouraged, and we must continue our work. Our strategic plan provides a roadmap for the next 5 years. It is the culmination of a lot of hard work and engagement with stakeholders across the organization. You are moments away from hearing about it. All I can tell you now is that I have never been more enthusiastic and optimistic about the potential of this organization to have an impact in the future. That optimism stems not only from our strategic plan, but also from our leadership. Katie Theoharides is a passionate, sharp, capable CEO who has already put the trustees on a solid footing and is poised to lead us into our next chapter. And I am now very honored to introduce a good friend and respected colleague, Tom French. He has served on the trustees board thoughtfully and effectively, led some of our most important work, including chairing the strategic plan. He has great judgment, solid experience, and the highest level of integrity. And now he is our new chair. I will share just a little story that years ago, Tom and Jill came to our house with Abby and me, and David and Victoria Corll were with us. Tom had just come back from Antarctica, where he and his son had climbed one of the highest, or the highest mountain in Antarctica. So after dinner, Tom shared his story and some pictures. And I remember as I was listening to it, just thinking to myself, wow, when this guy sets his mind to something, get ready. Well, as I look ahead for the trustees, we have some mountains to climb. But I am really excited and optimistic and enthusiastic about our potential success. And that's because I believe we are ready. I believe that we have a strong organization, an excellent strategic plan, and now a terrific new leader and chair, Tom French. Please join me in welcoming and congratulating Tom.
Thank you, Peter, for those kind words and those memories of a delightful evening with you and Abby and some fun storytelling. Your words, Peter, tonight remind us that we have more than 130 years of history in conservation leadership and stewardship propelling the next chapter of our organization. I know I speak for every member of the Board of Directors and all of governance when I say thank you. Thank you for your exemplary service and leadership as chair over the past 7 years. Peter, you led us through the development and execution of a bold agenda aptly named Momentum that deepened our impact across the state in so many ways. You oversaw a CEO transition that brought us to the exciting place we are today, with a new leader and entire leadership team that we could not be prouder of or more energized by. But it's not only what you did, Peter, it's also how you did it. In large forums, your pitch-perfect voice captured all that we cherish in this organization. In one-on-one interactions, the caring, personal style with which you have reached out to people, listened, and built consensus has made us all feel good about the outcomes. Your dedication to the organization has been unwavering and inspiring, including an attendance record at meetings and events that I'm going to confess I'm a bit daunted by. Yours are indeed large shoes to fill. Now, as we seek to fill those shoes, I'm beyond grateful that I have the opportunity to work with two outstanding vice chairs, Phyllis Yale and Cyrus Tarporavala, as we continue to serve this organization's critical mission. Now, naturally, there's significant work ahead. Executing our new strategic plan for everyone forever will require the talents of all of our staff and volunteers from the Western Hills to the islands. It will also draw on the expertise and support of everyone in this room tonight as we build on the strong foundation that you, Nisi, Ted, and others have worked so hard to create for us. It was an honor to chair the Strategic Planning Committee this year. We worked closely with Katie and her team, incorporated input from staff and governance across the state, and engaged in intensive working sessions with the full board. Now, we'll hear plenty more about the strategic plan from Katie later this evening, and I'm the only agenda item between us and our main courses, so I'll just close by saying this. I am beyond excited about where the plan promises to take us. I love the way it builds on our enduring mission and historic strengths as a land conservation leader, one focused in particular on connecting people with the land while pushing us to raise our game in protecting and stewarding the special places we all cherish. For now, let's all please enjoy our meals, and we'll continue with our evening program after a 15-minute pause. Thanks again, Peter. It is now my honor to move us into the recognition and awards portion of the evening. And I have the great pleasure to be able to recognize three exemplary members of trustees, governance, and staff who have been named as Life Trustees, the highest honor in our governance and service to the trustees. Tonight, we start by naming Amy Auerbach as a life trustee. Amy joined the trustees and its governance in 2006 during the integration with the Boston Natural Areas Network. She served on the board of directors from 2006 to 2018 and was our treasurer from 2011 to 2018. If that wasn't enough, she also chaired the Finance and Audit committees and served on several other board committees as well. I'm delighted to report that Amy continues her governance service as a member and chair of the Trustees Council while actively serving on the Boston Committee and the Finance and Audit Committee. Now, we sort of already recognized you, Amy, but we didn't fully recognize you, so could we ask you to stand, please? Right. And next, we're delighted to name Ted Ladd as a life trustee. In 2019, we were honored to award him the Charles Elliott Award as Conservationist of the Year. And I can think of no recognition more fitting to add to the accolades of someone who has dedicated a quarter of a century of service to the trustees. Over the years, Ted has held critical volunteer and leadership positions, including, but by no means limited to, his role on the Momentum Campaign Task Force and the Environmental Sustainability Task Force. Ted continues his governance service as a member of the Trustees Council. Ted, will you please stand to be recognized? And finally, we're thrilled to name Nisi Panetta as a life trustee. Yes, indeed. Now, Nisi joined the trustees in 1993 and has served on governance as a corporate trustee and board member for many years, starting in 2005. Nisi is a nonprofit leader and an extremely talented writer. While I could highlight any number of her leadership contributions to the trustees, most notably, Nisi recently served as our interim president and CEO, providing stability and inspiration to the organization during a critical period of transition. We are delighted that she will be continuing her governance service on the advisory board and as a member of the Sustainability Committee and Cultural Resources Committee. Nisi, will you please stand to be recognized? Quite a trio of honorees. Congratulations, Nisi, and congratulations to all of our Life Trustee recipients tonight. Next, I invite Phyllis Yale to the stage for the presentation of the Staff Awards.
All right, well, thank you, Tom, and congratulations to Amy and Ted and Nisi. Well deserved. We are fortunate to have many talented and dedicated individuals who work at the trustees, and we are deeply grateful to all our staff for their commitment and contributions. Before we share our Employee of the Year, the highest award bestowed to our staff, we'd like to recognize a few other staff achievements. Earlier this year, we named Trails team leader Josh Knox our most recent Champion of Diversity and Inclusion award winner. This peer-nominated award recognizes colleagues who've demonstrated a commitment to increasing inclusivity and accessibility for all through their work at the trustees. Please join me in celebrating Josh for his commitment to diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Additionally, this year we were also honored to be able to award 4 staff members with a Jocelyn Forbush Prize. Beth Moore, Julia Midland, Sarah Sweet Rabideau, Kelsey and Kendra Nisley. This award supports the professional development of our staff. This year's recipients will use their awards to become certified in Salesforce Marketing Cloud and to attend national and regional conferences and programs to deepen their skills in hospitality, philanthropy, and local engagement. So let's give them a round of applause, even if they're not here tonight. So, next, I'd like to introduce our Employee of the Year. While it is always difficult to single out just one employee for this honor, we choose one who consistently goes above and beyond their duties in order to serve the organization and our mission. This year, we honor Mike Francis, Senior Regional Stewardship Manager. Mike is the Senior Regional Stewardship Manager for Metro West. Let's turn our attention to the screen to hear more about Mike's exceptional commitment to the trustees' mission.
I think it's, really about stepping out into the landscape. That kind of grounds you each day in the work that you do. And then the people that you interact with throughout the day keeps you coming back. My name is Mike Francis. I'm the Senior Regional Stewardship Manager in the Metro West region. What drew me to the trustees was the mission. It connects each one of us to the open space that we protect, and we really want people to use and enjoy these properties, and to be part of that is just a fun job to have.
My name is D.A. Hayden. I'm the Regional Vice President for the Metro West. Mike's role has really expanded in the time that I've been with the trustees. He embodies everything that anybody could possibly think of as a fantastic staff member of the trustees. His team respects him, our communities respect him, and I firmly believe the land respects him.
Really, no 2 days are alike. As the Senior Regional Stewardship Manager, I work on the operational needs of the properties and the day-to-day operations, and really play a support role for all the other staff.
Mike is very good about sharing knowledge. Some people hold their knowledge cards close, where Mike doesn't do that. Mike sets the stage with what he knows and what he believes his team should know before they embark on a project.
To me, being a steward means being a caregiver, one that is caring for the land, the resources, and also each other. When I found out I was Employee of the Year, I was surprised, honored, and humble at the thought, thinking about all the other great staff that work for the organization. And just an amazing group of people, whether they're staff or volunteers, and I really try to seek to understand the experience that they bring, the backgrounds that they come from, and try to integrate that into our priorities.
The entire trustees organization is so fortunate to have Mike Francis on their team, but we're particularly fortunate in the Metro West.
Mike, come on up wherever you are. Come up, come up. There you are. Okay. Congratulations. Well, congratulations again, Mike. I'll now invite Cyrus Taraporvala to the stage to present our Volunteer of the Year award.
Congratulations again, Mike. And now we turn to our volunteers. Volunteers are the lifeblood of the trustees. Their importance to this organization's success cannot be overstated. They join with our staff across the state to help us meet our mission and bring it alive for the public every single day. Each of you here tonight are volunteers. You share your time and talents with the trustees, and let me start by thanking you for your continued service. Every year we honor one of the thousands of volunteers. So just imagine how hard this is to pick. And it's never easy, but I do think this person has made a tremendous impact, representing a standout level of devotion to our mission. This year we honor Elnora Thompson, one of the longest running volunteers. Elnora has been involved with the Boston Community Gardens Network. She's been a member of the Nightingale Community Garden in Dorchester for more than 35 years. Ted Ladd, you have competition. And a majority of her time during that time, she served as the garden coordinator. Let's watch to learn a little bit more about Elnora.
The leadership at the trustees and the staff at the trustees is really committed to make sure that the land we protect is accessible to everybody everywhere. So when the trustees staff got here, we found a group of about 30 gardeners led by Elnora. They had put down cardboards, paved pathways through the weeds, and were busy gardening and growing a whole lot of produce. I am Vidya Tiku. I'm the Vice President for Boston and Urban Outdoors at the Trustees. I manage a network of 56 community gardens in Boston and a few other external reservations. The mission of the Trustees is to protect open space and connect it with the people. These really are the community centers for many of these neighborhoods. Sometimes they're the only open space that they have. The network of the 56 gardens is really run on the shoulders of these volunteers.
This is the Southern Picnic. Yep, it's jamming here someplace. Oh, right here. My name is Elnora Thompson, and we're in Dorchester, Mass. And I am the coordinator. I do a little bit of everything. This garden means the heart of Dorchester. It means that we can feed people. And this garden is a community in itself.
Elnora is really a treasure in the city of Boston and in Dorchester. We worked with her to renovate this garden, raise the funds, bring in the community, and she is now the living and breathing picture of what this garden means to this neighborhood.
Everybody that walks through the gate, you just smile and say, welcome, come on in, I want to show you around the garden. That's the way you treat people. I love this community, and I couldn't see myself living anywhere else. So I work very hard to keep this neighborhood a neighborhood. And then, you get a chance to go to the food pantry, and it just gives you such a warm feeling inside to drop off that food, and you see all those people standing there. They say, oh my goodness, those vegetables are so pretty. I'm just a farmer at heart, and I feel like I'm helping to raise the next generation for Nightingale.
We're all so thrilled for this recognition that the Trustees is giving to her. It is so well deserved, and we all love you, Elnora. Congratulations.
Elnora, please come join me. Elnora, thank you for your service to the trustees. We'd love to continue the celebration, so now it's my great honor and privilege to invite the Trustees President and CEO, Katie Theoharides, to the stage to present the final award this evening.
Congratulations, Mike and Elnora. I'm grateful for all that you've done for the organization. And good evening, everyone. It's my absolute honor to present this year's Charles Elliott Award to our Conservationist of the Year. As you know, this award is one of our highest honors. It has been presented every year since 1934 to individuals, groups, or organizations who represent the values, qualities, and principles of our founder and the award's namesake, Charles Elliott. Tonight, we honor the mission and vital work of the Massachusetts Land Trust Coalition. Their mission is to advance land conservation across our beautiful state by providing education, tools, networking, and advocacy for land trusts and their partners. There are more than 140 land trusts working in Massachusetts, including the trustees. That's more than any other state except for California. Land trusts steward nearly 5% of the state's land area. They provide critical conservation of our forests, farmland, and wildlife habitats. Today, land trusts are hard at work helping Massachusetts meet its goals under the state-mandated Clean Energy and Climate Plan to conserve 40% of the state's natural and working lands by 2030. The Massachusetts Land Trust Coalition is strengthening land trusts and advancing conservation by not just educating and collecting and unifying land trust leaders, they're inspiring and training the next generation. But people are only part of the solution. We must also ensure that our local and national legislation also works to support land conservation. The coalition acts as a voice of our state land trusts through their advocacy work. Tonight, we welcome Anna Wilkins, Vice President of the Massachusetts Land Trust Coalition Board of Trustees, to the stage to accept the award on the organization's behalf. Anna?
Thank you all so much, and thank you, Katie. I'm honored to accept this recognition on behalf of all the current and past staff, board, and advisory council members of the Massachusetts Land Trust Coalition. Our executive director, Rob Johnson, who deserves much credit, unfortunately can't be here tonight. He's in Argentina on vacation. We're so humbled to be in the same company as so many bright lights who have been the previous recipients of this award. MLTC is devoted to advancing land conservation across the Commonwealth by strengthening 140 land trusts working across the state. We appreciate that strengthening the land trusts community is a cause near and dear to the trustees. The trustees' own West Ward was in fact central to our founding in 1990. From its founding, MLTC has remained a small but mighty team instrumental in organizing 34 statewide land conservation conferences, 21 state agency land trust retreats, and innumerable topical trainings and networking events. We've been at the table, recognized as a credible and a respected voice, with our statewide partners advocating for funding and policies to help land trusts do what they do best: conserve more land and keep it protected. In recent years, MLTC has steadily expanded its programs in response to the need to ensure the next generation of conservation professionals that they have the support and training required. Our new 10-week course on land protection tools and techniques, designed in partnership with Mass Audubon and UMass Amherst, enrolled 25 trainees from a diverse background. It also benefits from the trustees dedicating Olivia Lukasik's time as faculty and co-leader. Next up is a 4-part course on climate smart stewardship and a multi-session collaboration with the trustees to help land trusts increase their engagement with urban land conservation. We're grateful to our members, and the many businesses and individuals whose support keeps us going, including that of the trustees. We urge you to reach out to any of us. I'll be here, and Barbara's over there, and Vidya's on the board as well, to learn more and help us continue to do this important work. And Buzz is in here too. He's on there too, of course. From all of us at the Coalition, thank you for this recognition and this high honor.
Thank you, Anna, and congratulations again to you and the Massachusetts Land Trust Coalition. And now it's my cue to tell you you all have a break for dessert before the conclusion of tonight's program. Thank you. Yes. It is with so much gratitude that I come before you tonight to thank you for your support and enduring commitment to protecting and caring for our special places for everyone forever. It is all of you, our governance and supporters, and our fabulous staff who sustain our mission and push us to move forward with purpose. And so much of this work has been done by our fabulous staff that I really would like to pause and give our staff team a round of applause tonight, please. In difficult times, in times when we may feel the uncertainty of the future and worry about so many things we hold dear, it is powerful to be together, pushing toward our shared mission of protecting our natural world, building inclusive spaces for everyone, and caring for the land and each other. I hope in the days ahead, our special places can provide healing sanctuaries of respite and a place to gather strength for the good and important work ahead. I'm going to talk about some of that work tonight. You heard that a year ago, we were grappling with a $5 million projected budget deficit after several years of significant growth and simultaneous multi-million-dollar deficits. In early 2024, we completed difficult but necessary spending cuts, staff reductions, and a broad reorganization, rooted within the need to refocus around our core mission. Today, less than a year later, we are on pace to deliver a break-even budget, and our new regional structure is allowing us to utilize statewide standards and unleash local decision-making while building stronger relationships and partnerships in the communities we serve all around the Commonwealth. We continue to bring new reservations and lands into our care while ensuring we can steward existing reservations, welcome and connect visitors, and bring our organization sustainably into the future. Through our most ambitious fundraising campaign to date, we raised close to $14 million in less than 6 months to permanently protect the 190-acre Milburn Farm in Sherborne and Millis. Our campaign pulled from major leadership gifts, public grants, and community-based giving, highlighting the powerful forces that can come together to save these special places. Working with a coalition of conservation groups across 2 states, we acquired parcels collectively known as Cooper Hill in the southern Berkshires, adding to our existing reservation at Bartholomew's Cobble and helping to protect an important agricultural landscape. Our conservation work continues to ramp up. Since July of 2023, we've protected 590 acres and added over 2,400 acres of conservation land to the pipeline of active projects. But we not only protect these landscapes, we give voice to their stories. In the Berkshires this summer, we were thrilled to host Lisa Shepherdson, a direct descendant of Elizabeth Freeman. We tell Elizabeth's story at the Ashley House where she was enslaved. She was the first person in the Commonwealth to sue for her freedom in 1781. This reunion across the ages would not have been possible without the diligent efforts of our staff to collect accurate histories and bring these stories to life. Sharing stories like this requires us to often return to the past with new eyes, and this June we did just that at Fruitlands. The Across Boundaries, Across Barriers exhibit reinterprets the Fruitlands Native American art collection through Native perspectives and represents the first step in a larger reconsideration of the collection there. Welcoming everyone is an essential part of our mission. In Massachusetts, only 12% of our beaches are open to the public, and we believe it should not be so hard to get to the beach. We strive to provide access to all while protecting the fragile ecology and resilience of these sites. This balance can be tricky, but on Martha's Vineyard this summer, we had our most successful shorebird breeding season ever, while at the same time continuing to welcome public access to our wild and beautiful coastal beaches. Over on Nantucket, Cosqueda-Cotuí Wildlife Refuge has been nominated for a National Park Service Natural Landmark designation, which would open the door to federal grants and technical assistance to make this fragile barrier beach more climate resilient. Our landscapes often serve as a gathering place for shared learning and cultural exchange. This June, we hosted the American Public Gardens Association Conference in our public and community gardens across the Commonwealth. In September, we welcomed Governor Healy and her team to Crane to better understand the coastal resilience work we're leading in the Great Marsh. And in October, we hosted a delegation from the British Consulate and the National Trust of Scotland to exchange ideas and share experiences that come from managing these treasured historical institutions. We're also honored to host many artists, musicians, and performers, and we recently welcomed native basket weaver Jeremy Frey as our incoming Rappaport Fellow at DeCordova and closed out a wonderful art installation by Jean Chin, celebrating the relationship between migratory birds and agroecology practices at Appleton Farm. We've also had storytellers, spoken word performers, singers, and songwriters, and a string quartet covering Taylor Swift. It has been a lively year. My own sense of purpose for this journey comes from working with our staff across the state and in the field, seeing visitors enjoying our special places, and the support from all of you. From planting corn from the bed of a tractor at Powasset Farm, hiking in the rain across a woodland in the heart of the hill towns, or raising our glasses in celebration of fresh farm food and community at the Farm Institute, I know that what we create at the Trustees is special. It's about people coming together in service to the land, in service to our shared history, in service to community, and in service to each other. Before I look ahead, I want to add my thanks to Peter Coffin, who has been a steadfast leader as our board chair, guiding the organization through a period of significant transition and staying on to help me navigate my first year. Thank you so much. I'm also thrilled to be working with our new board chair, Tom French. Over the last year, I've seen Tom's superpower of bringing people together to drive towards results, and I'm very excited about our work ahead. Thank you to our governance and our staff for actively participating in the creation of our next strategic plan for everyone forever. And a special thanks to McKinsey for their guidance and for extensively supporting this work pro bono for the last 10 months. Thank you so much. Much as Charles Eliot did 130 years ago, our strategic planning work called on us to look to our mission and ask how our work can best address the environmental challenges of our times. We've asked how we can continue to connect people with our special places, and through this connection, build the trustees of the future to help take on these challenges. And the challenges are many. We know that climate change, habitat destruction, and biodiversity loss threaten to forever change and disconnect our natural landscapes. We know that every day in Massachusetts, we lose 13.5 acres permanently to development, and that since the 1970s, we've lost 30% of our unique biodiversity here in North America. At the same time, we know that unequal access to nature and less time spent outdoors prevents people from realizing the significant health benefits and well-being that nature provides. In communities of color, this is especially true. Over 74% of people of color in the US live in places without access to open space. We also know that the resources for this work are unconscionably scarce. Globally, only 2 to 3% of philanthropic funds are spent on the care of our planet, our one and only home. And estimates point to a $300 billion gap between what's needed to protect the natural world and current public spending. It is with this urgency that I come to you tonight to say that our mission and the work we do every day is not only still relevant, it is more important than it ever has been. Our work now is to turn toward our mission more fervently than ever before, to welcome people everywhere to our stage, to build love and connection to our special places, and through this love and connection, inspire more people to raise our collective voice to the challenges of our time. Our strategic plan will be based on 5 pillars. First, we must accelerate conservation of special places and threatened landscapes. The Trustees is often recognized as the first regional land conservation organization in the country. We're now joined by many local, state, regional, and national organizations in this work, but the need for our leadership remains significant. We're entering a period of time when generational land turnover is accelerating. Family farms and forests are being sold off, and many of the last remaining tracts of open land may be developed and gone forever. At the same time, land conservation holds significant promise for sequestering carbon, building resiliency, and preventing the worst impacts of climate change. To respond to this moment, the Trustees will focus resources and collaborate with partners to accelerate permanent conservation of the Commonwealth's natural, working, and culturally significant landscapes and protect the benefits they provide to everyone. Perhaps the most important part of our work is the forever stewardship of the resources already in our care. From large tracts of land to coastal beaches, to museums, historic homes, and objects and artifacts that tell the stories of these landscapes and connect them to our visitors today. To elevate stewardship, we'll work through proactive research, planning, and investments in the forever care of our natural, historic, and cultural resources, maintain the ecological and cultural integrity of the resources we care for, provide an exceptional visitor experience, and enhance resilience against the growing impacts of climate change. And we'll use the experience to share best practices with other land managers across the state and nation to enhance stewardship outcomes on a larger scale, bringing the next generation into this work. Our conservation efforts will focus on increasing access to special places that inspire a love for nature, protecting priority landscapes that provide essential environmental benefits to everyone, and increasing the overall capacity of the Massachusetts land conservation community. In a time when the impacts of climate change are already affecting people and communities, we need to take decisive action on our own portfolio to reduce our emissions to net zero and to use nature-based solutions to increase the resilience of our landscapes, collections, and infrastructure. But to have greater impact, we need to showcase climate action in real life to communities and inspire broader scale action, advocacy, and policy solutions beyond our borders. We plan to build partnerships with leading solution makers across the state and beyond who can help demonstrate, model, and research nature-based solutions in places that people visit every day. With nearly 2 million visitors coming to our properties every year, we have a unique opportunity to tell these stories of action in a way that inspires more solution making, more action, and ultimately more hope. What sets the Trustees apart from other conservation organizations is our commitment to creating a deep and lasting connection between people and the land. You've heard a lot about that tonight. To build this love and connection, we bring our landscapes alive through inspired programming, culture and art, storytelling and history, farming and gardening, outdoor recreation, and community gatherings. This work is not just about providing access. It is about intentionally creating a sense of belonging and welcome in our special places, and in doing so, bringing more people into the work of protecting our natural world. Our experience has shown us we can't and shouldn't try to do everything ourselves, and that the connection we provide is richer and more diverse when we serve as a stage and invite partners and community groups to come and host programs, events, cultural offerings, and celebrations in our special places. We also need to be intentional about creating a place everyone feels welcome and embedding diversity, belonging, inclusion, and equity into all aspects of our work. We'll focus on removing barriers and finding new ways to market and promote our properties. And we'll deepen connections with local, Black, Indigenous, people of color, and under-resourced communities to involve them in decision-making around the trustees' special places and to tell accurate cultural and historical stories that educate visitors about our shared history. We lay our fifth pillar on its horizontal axis because it is the foundation upon which all of this work depends. Our work over this past year has been to bring the organization back onto a sustainable path and at the same time prepare ourselves to navigate in an ever more complex world what is already a beautifully complex or rich organization. By investing in the capabilities of our team, optimizing financial resources, and better leveraging analytics, the trustees will accelerate our impact. We'll build culture and values that attract, develop, and retain innovative top talent, becoming a destination employer. By better balancing our earned and philanthropic revenue sources, we'll ensure our financial sustainability long-term. And finally, with enhanced data capabilities, we'll make quicker, more accurate decisions that optimize resource allocation and track success across key initiatives. We're working now to define the specific initiatives and how we'll measure success through this 5-year period. But looking to the horizon, I can already see some of the impacts we'll have. For example, by 2030, we'll have conserved thousands of acres of land directly and partnered to conserve many thousands more. We'll have increased our community garden footprint by 20% and provided access to green space for thousands of residents in cities. We'll have protected 6 to 8 new reservations, and we'll have hired the trustees' first ever Chief of Conservation and Climate. We'll have partnerships in place to showcase nature-based climate solutions on our landscapes, and we'll be on the path to net zero in our organizational operations, led by the important work of our Sustainability Committee. Through our We Are All Trustees initiative, we'll be welcoming more members and visitors, and we'll double the number of youth we engage in our programs every year. There's many more ways to think about this impact, and we'll have a lot more to say here soon. And we know there's much work ahead and that our plans are ambitious. But we also know that by leaning into our mission, by working in partnership with others, by making our own organization more sustainable, and by continuing to build the next generation of trustees, this vision is possible. Before I close, I'd like to leave you with a story that Jennifer Dubois, our Director of Land Conservation, has been sharing with our governance this fall. The passage comes from the book Saving Special Places by former CEO Gordon Abbott and tells the story of the trustees stepping in to save Chesterfield Gorge, one of the most stunning landscapes, often called the Grand Canyon of Massachusetts. A group of canoers and kayakers was headed down through the gorge in the spring of 1929. Our coming when we did proved providential, wrote Alex Forbes. To our horror, we saw a lumber gang hard at work in the woods constructing a bridge across the gorge. Inquiry revealed that they were planning to strip the entire east side of the gorge, where pines and hemlocks, nearly 100 feet high, standing on the very edge of the cliff, rendered it the most striking bit of natural scenery in Massachusetts. Immediately on our return to Boston, we got in touch with the Standing Committee of the Trustees of Reservations. A long-distance call to Westfield halted the cutting one day before the slope was to be stripped. In a few days, negotiations had resulted in the purchase of the land and its transfer to the trustees, and ultimately its permanent conservation as one of our 123 reservations. It is with the spirit of can-do that I leave you tonight. Thank you all for your service to our mission, and thank you for raising your voice and your glass to our one and only home. I don't have one, but. And now I'll welcome Tom back to the stage.
So thank you, Katie, for those thoughtful, informative, and inspiring remarks. There's a lot of hard work to come, but we leave here tonight feeling hopeful and excited about what lies ahead. We will all, no doubt, want to think more about this, and to that end, we've prepared an executive summary of the strategic plan. When all of you drop off your name badges as you leave tonight, please take a summary home with you. And if you walk out of here remembering nothing else, please remember that Massachusetts is our home, and that protecting our home is not just the right thing to do, it is absolutely necessary, now more than ever. Together, we will ensure these special places endure for everyone, forever. Thank you all for a terrific evening. And with that, I would now like to call for a motion to close the annual meeting. I'm sure that, there we go. Is there a second lurking out there? There might be. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much. Get home safely. Good night.